Welcome to Ask Psych Sessions, where we ask some of the best teachers in psychology questions from you, our audience. If you would like to send in a question or an idea for a conversation, please visit bit.ly/AskPsychSessions. That's bit.ly/AskPsychSessions, all lowercase, no spaces. And here's our next question. I am here with Jane Halonen. Jane, hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Jane, this is a little series that we're putting together as a part of Ask Psych Sessions. And really what we're doing is we are finding experts in online education and teaching who can give us some tips and tricks about online education. So are you ready?
Well, I'm ready, but I'm going to say an expert in online education is not me. I've often told people that I hope to reach retirement before being forced to do anything online. And wow, that position has been challenged just in the last week.
Well, thanks for dealing with my intro because you and I chatted. Actually, we were on an email thread together, and I realized that you hadn't ever done this, and you were being asked to do this. Now, you've been teaching a long time. Do you know the number of years you've been teaching for?
I think if I count properly, it's actually 40 years. I don't know how that happened.
And what was your when people started teaching online, early 2000s or whatever, you never made the plunge?
Nope, never did. And I know part of it is just such a total commitment to needing to see lights in students' eyes when you're talking in class, that's always been a driver for me. And since I'd not been in a department that had a tremendous drive to do online work, that created a little bit of a refuge. And having lots of friends who did take the plunge and who assured me that good online teaching has its own kind of thrill, I said, you're welcome to it, but I really need the energy of the class. So that's why I've scrupulously avoided any commitments of that sort over time.
Yeah, and so you are the only person I'm going to talk to as a part of this mini series, and because on this side of things, because I want to know what it's like for somebody who is being told, "Hey, you got to move your classes online right now." I mean, I know what kind of time it takes for me to prep an online class. It's as much time as a face-to-face class, maybe even more time up front, actually.
I suspect it's more. Yeah.
Right. And so you're at the University of West Florida, and you when were you told that you needed to go online?
We were told that we needed to go online about 3 days ago.
Okay. And how much time do you have to get online?
My first class is Monday, so I've still got the weekend to polish my phone.
Oh my gosh. All right. So the point of me talking to you is to get the perspective of somebody who is being asked to do this. So can you just tell me, like, what was going through your head when you read this, that I now need to take all these courses online? What are the things that you're thinking about?
Well, fortunately, one of the classes that I'm teaching right now is positive psychology, which gives me a good framework for explaining what happened when I read that we needed to do that. This is also in the wake of having to cancel a trip to New York to go see some plays and also go to Eastern Psychological Association convention to give a talk on positive psychology. And of course, EPA got canceled. So I was already a little in a mourning state. Then I read that, and I have to say, I won't say what I thought, but there was definitely an F-bomb related. Because as I say, I'm not known for my technological astuteness. It's one of the things that my students occasionally complain about in my teaching evaluations. But I have to say, when we converted to Canvas 2 years ago, I forced myself to invest in Canvas as a means of communicating with my students. And so even though I never technically taught online, I have to say the architecture of my course is very much intertwined with and delivered by Canvas. So that does give me an advantage as compared to someone who has resolutely said, I don't want to be part of the online world ever.
Or yeah, right. Or I can't because of the nature, or it's very difficult because of the nature of the kinds of content that I teach. Maybe you're a chemist or something like that,
Right.
or you have lab classes. But okay, so you have. It sounds like you relied on the skills, the technological skills that you had developed. So whatever those are, you kind of relied on those. But who did you reach out to afterwards, or did you start Googling, or what did you do?
Our university, I'm happy to say, has just an absolutely stellar IT staff. Global Online is the resource that we use. And I have very dear friends who work in that group. And so as soon as I saw that this had to happen, I said, ooh, get me to the Global Online studio where they can walk me through some of the things that I'm thinking about to be able to show me what that's going to look like. And probably later today, when I get off this phone call, I'll be asking them to take a look at what I've developed to try to troubleshoot what will happen to prevent problems for Monday. But absolutely great people who not only are experienced online people, but who are very patient with Luddites.
Global Online, is that just your institution?
It's the name that our institution has adopted for the outreach that we do, and
Okay.
we do have a pretty substantial online programming commitment at our university. Our university serves a substantial number of people who are in the military, and so we've always had a pretty major investment in that area. I can't say that psychology has been a firm part of that, but I suspect this experience is going to change that big time.
Yeah, I think this is going to change a lot for
I think
institutions and faculty. So okay, so you reach out to them now. Let me ask you some questions just about taking your face-to-face courses. Now, are you teaching only the positive psych course this semester?
no, I have 3 courses, so it's a full-time load at our place.
Uh-huh.
Positive Psych, which has 50 students in it, and unfortunately, on the other side of spring break, half the classes were going to be invested in student presentations, which complicates things a lot because it's not just my managing what we're going to be doing online, but students are going to be responsible for generating content as well. The other 2 classes that I'm teaching 2 capstone classes. The course that we use I sometimes refer to it as psychology finishing school. Students take special interest courses that combine topic area with career preparation. And so one of my classes is history of psychology, which I've taught many times. And then I had a brand new prep, which I've just loved, the psychology of movies, and both of those classes were scheduled to go into student presentations either for all of the remaining classes or for a good chunk of the remaining classes. So part of what I've had to do is try to figure out how do I prepare students, uh, most of whom have, frankly, more online experience than I do, but how do I prepare them for the roles that they're going to be playing in the class?
Right. So you are taking what you had planned to do and you are going to move it online. You're in the middle of the semester, you're not reinventing the whole course. You're going to adapt it essentially.
I'm definitely adapting it. So in at least one class, I'm creating some additional assignments that give students some point credit toward grade for how they are involved with the student presentations. In some cases, they have to develop multiple choice questions. That's a trick that I love to use with my advanced students to try to help them learn how to get ready for the GRE. They'll listen to an assignment and then come up with a good multiple choice question that reflects that they understood the key points that they heard. in my positive psych class, because there are so darn many of the students, and I do have an undergraduate TA to help me with grading burden, I'm asking students to listen to student presentations and then create true-false statements. So it's the same principle, that I want to have some evidence that they have stayed the course and been involved, so that I feel more comfortable when it's time for testing that they've been prepared.
Are you moving your tests online?
My tests have been online, weirdly. I have, as of last year, I moved my exams into Canvas quiz form, but I asked students to bring laptops to class, and they take them in class using Lockdown Browser. And when I found out that not only could I get immediate feedback using the Canvas quiz structure, but I also could save $1 a Scantron page or more and save trees. I thought, well, of course, let's do that. So it took a little bit of negotiating with students to make sure that they remembered to bring their device, a proper device, because you can't do those on phones. But we also have a good loaning program in the library, so they could scoot over to the library and borrow a laptop. The first test is usually chaotic as hell, and then the second test, things calm down. And I'm assuming that when it comes time for the final, if we are not back in class, then I'll modify the test to take into account that they're home and have a lot of access to other things besides the controls that Canvas provides.
Jane, one of the things, there are a couple things that I'm hearing from you is that, are that you have taken, so you might say, I've never taught online before, and this might be how lots of people are coming into this transition. And
Mm-hmm.
yet, the other thing you are passionate about, I know one of the things you're passionate about is skills, that
Yes.
you have identified skills that you have online that may not have made you in the past an online teacher, but that you can leverage going forward.
I think so. I have to say, after I was stunned to realize I had to do this, and then I sort of chuckled, because this is a lesson of positive psychology, that when you're forced into a circumstance, you can make the best of it. And so that realization is like, oh, here we are again. We're in adversity, and in adversity, there is often there's a blessing. There's a new opportunity. And so I just finished this morning recording my orientation to online conversion for my positive side students, to help them get geared up and ready for what's going to happen. And I actually found I had fun with it. I wore a Harry Potter hat that advertised something like, I solemnly swear I'm up to no good, or whatever. I talked with them about how this fit with the principles of the class that we'd been studying. I also talked with them about how they needed to reach out to the university if they found themselves in bigger adverse circumstances and needed support. I extended my support to them. I think I think I was able to communicate to them that this is going to be a process that everyone's going to have some patience for, but that we'll muddle through. And then reflected, it's an unintended lab for positive psychology, and so I think they'll appreciate the sense of humor.
Well, I've seen some of the things that come out of your positive psychology end of semester projects, and I am looking forward to hearing from you about how this goes, because those are really special projects, not only for the course, but I think they're really memorable to students from conversations with you.
Well, in fact, students have a choice in the kind of major projects they do, whether they want to do a literature review or learn to write grants. Most students in this class do service learning projects, and that is a really serious problem now, because some of them had their service learning interactions planned now, and technically they shouldn't be doing that with social distancing. So part of my tape this morning was talking about options, that if in fact you were, a heartbreaking one is, I had a group that were going to dress up in the form of various nursery school characters and go to grade schools and do readings of things to engage students in wanting to be readers. Isn't that clever? And
It's
now
so
they
good.
can't, and now they can't do that. So we're talking about, can they make videos? Can they write a grant proposal that might help fund college students to do this on a more permanent basis? So the challenge is, okay, this is a curve, but when you get a curve, then you think through other options, and so that's what my students are currently doing.
Well, Jane, thank you for having this conversation with me. You are our prototypical faculty member in the United States and maybe worldwide who is now being asked to transition online. And let's remember those principles of positive psychology as we meet this challenge.
Yeah, I think there's some fun to be had here once you get past the F-bomb. Once you get past the shock, I think there are things that you can do that will turn the experience into something that's good. And then I guess I'm struck by some of the other things I've been reading lately, that the goal, we're in salvage mode. So the goal is not to have the perfect class that you originally started out hoping that you'd have, even though you'll never have the perfect class, but to recognize that good enough may be the goal this round, and then to be able to extract the learning that will help you make good professional decisions down the road. That's a bonus.
Yeah, well said, Jane. Thank you for sitting down with me and having this conversation. I appreciate it.
You're quite all right. Now I got to get back to Canvas. All
Me too. Me too.
right. Take
Thanks,
care and
Jane.
stay
All
safe.
right.
Bye bye.